almost looks lonely out there. That is the cool thing about the current setup, is it's much easier to get the trailer disconnected. So I can keep the bike in here where I feel like it's somewhat safe and hope nobody steals the trailer. I don't know. We'll take our chances. We'll just go with that. Anyway, yeah, it's about 7 o'clock on the 9th of May, 2022. And honestly, I didn't feel like I slept that good. We're right next to I-5, and it was really loud here. Yeah, it's... you know, I've had days where I slept in the ditch next to the freeway, and I felt like I slept better. I don't know. I had the air conditioner running just for white noise last night, and it's like, well, that helped a little bit, but I don't know. I'm so used to being outside, which is weird. It's like, normally I would feel so unsafe being outside. I would be thinking I'd feel safer inside, you know. Some alligator's gonna eat me or something like that, but I don't know. It's like I'm so used to sleeping on the army cot. I might try this one night. Sleep inside on the army cot again and see if I sleep better on that than I do on the bed, because I don't know, it was comfortable, you know. That's why I can't figure it out. It's like I'm just weird. I do miss the stars. I think that was part of it. It was just, you know, whatever. So yeah, I got the bike out there charging. I've only got about 36 volts. I'm gonna have to do some serious climbing today. So maybe the smart thing would be to just sit here until 10 o'clock or something like that and try to get as much charge as I can. A couple comments on the... Yeah, when I use the hose clamp to mount the panel on the side, it's just hard enough to undo it that I don't want to. And plus all the tools are on the bottom, and so I think probably the smart thing to do would be to there's parts of this that are just not, I mean, obviously it's a kludge. This is the ultimate kludge, you know, compared to the other one that was, at least I had a plan when I designed it, kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I should just take the time to take a screwdriver out there and undo all the hose clamps and get the panel up where I can get them both aimed at the sun. That would save me some time charging, and then put it back together again. Maybe I'll just bite the bullet and do that, I guess. I hate waiting, you know. That's the hard thing. Next year, well, I guess it's totally going to depend where I end up staying. I don't have any experience east of the Mississippi, hardly at all. So I don't, you know, anybody that lives out east, is there open spaces that you can just go camp, you know, randomly, or, you know, am I going to be bouncing between KOAs and Motel 6s and stuff like that, you know? I don't know. Also, I think if I tune things a little bit different next year, lighter and faster, and this was something, okay, let me back up a second. This was something I learned on the motorcycle trip. When I did Alaska, I was camping every night. There was so many campsites in Alaska and Yukon and Northwest Territories, and the motorcycle had longer range. That's a big part of it, but I would ride past 4 or 5 campsites every day, and because it was Alaska, or, you know, up above the Arctic Circle, I could ride until 10 o'clock at night and still be daylight, even if, you know, I was there after, I was there pretty late in the year, so the sun was already going down earlier, because you do have, above the Arctic Circle, the sun doesn't set for a few days, and then the further north you go, the more days it doesn't set in the summer, right? So I was there much later than that, so it still set every day when I was there. So I wasn't there in the middle of summer when that happens. I was there pretty late into the fall. In fact, I got snowed on. Anyway, so I was used to camping every night. In the Yukon, they had just huge piles of firewood. It was like $14 or $15 a night to camp. You know, this was 10, 12 years ago now, so it's probably changed, but it was just wonderful, you know. And then I got down, in fact, I had planned on wild camping on that trip, and then I realized that the campsites were so nice and had so much firewood, and it was just nice having a camp toilet to use, and instead of just, you know, out in the bush kind of thing. So I just quit wild camping and started camping in the campsites. It was just, you know, nice. There was a fire pit and everything. Well, then I come down into the main U.S., and everybody down here has RVs, right? And it got to the point, in a lot of places, it was hard to find an actual campsite. You know, I mean, this was, well, like, okay, when I was in New Mexico on this trip, those were really nice campsites. They actually had warm showers and everything, okay? But not every state has a good camping program, is what I'm learning. You know, and so there isn't a lot of campsites that are, you know, what I would consider a traditional campsite. There's RV parks everywhere. And not every RV park even has a tent option, right? So, yeah. So I'm just trying to get my head around which way to go with that, because if I go back east, am I going to run into that kind of a problem? Is it going to be hard to find a place, you know, like a legit campsite? And then if I can't, where can I safely camp, right? There's always going to be the truck pull-offs and stuff like that I have been camping at, because they have to have those, and so I can usually find a spot to get safely out of the truck's way. Some travel centers seemed tolerant of me and some didn't. What I learned on the motorcycle trip after I came into the U.S., you know, the 48, it was just becoming easier to say, okay, I'm not going to be able to camp very often, so I just started looking for Motel 6s. I just kind of locked into Motel 6 and a couple other similar chains. It was easy to find them on the phone. I just like, okay, I can ride to there, and so I just started booking ahead, so I knew it was there when I got there. And then I'm like, well, if I could just do that, then I don't need the camping gear, right? So then I'm like, well, okay, if I could get to that, what I could do is I could lighten the load, probably have bigger batteries, still have the solar. And then I thought, well, okay, if I'm going to be more in motels, then I would set up a charger, because I never bothered to set up a charger this time, so that when I got to the hotel, especially if I can roll the whole thing in or make it modular so I could just unplug the battery easier and bring the battery in, then I could have it sitting on the counter next to the power, you know, the plug in my charger, have it fully charged by morning. Okay. So, you know, I guess the difference then would be if I could eliminate all of the camping gear, or most of the camping gear. Maybe I'd still keep a lightweight tent. But, you know, the tent, the sleeping bag, the army cot that I'm using now, I don't even have the tent right now. But the army cot and the tent does weigh a bit, and it takes up a lot of space. Okay. Could I let go of that and just not have it? Right? And, you know, it's like, and then what happens if I do get stuck in the middle of between towns where I just can't make it to the next one, you know? But back east, there's so much more civilization in my mind anyway. I'm always surprised when I see something that I wasn't expecting. Like, okay, there's this guy Tucker Gott. He flies paramotors, so it's a parachute, and he's got a big motor on his back with a propeller, and so you just kind of run and take off. It would be kind of like those, what do they call it, paragliders that you get pulled behind a boat with a big parachute, only instead of the boat pulling you, he's got the motor on him, and it pushes him, and you know, he's got full free flight. He can fly across country. Anyway, he lives in New Jersey. In my mind, I always pictured New Jersey as looking like New York, you know, New York City, because it's right on the, you know, that's all I knew about New Jersey. But he's flying over farmland, right? I was like, that just blew my mind. I had no idea that there was a part of New Jersey that didn't look like it was all city, right? And like upstate New York, there's a lot of open spaces. Okay. So I got to remember, it's not going to be just concrete jungle for 4,000 miles. There is actually outback places everywhere. So, yeah. Anyway, I get it's like if I could just say one or the other, right? If I just said I'm not going to camp, but then I have to have enough range to get to the next motel, and I don't know if I can do that. So, you know, if I just spend some time and look at every state, okay, and not on freeways, could I get from one motel to the next in 50 miles? Most days I can probably do 50 miles, I guess. And if I had a bigger battery pack, it would weigh more, but I could go further. And if I could plug it in at night, then the solar wouldn't have to be fully charging it, but it would still give me an extension. But I mean, I don't know, it's kind of fun saying that I haven't had to plug in. The only time I've plugged anything in was back at Ridgecrest when I bought 2 new batteries, and so I fully charged all of the batteries just to get them at the same starting point. That's the only reason I plugged them in. Otherwise I wouldn't have had to. So that's the only time. So that's not bad in 1,000 miles. And if I do a better job on the trailer, get the panel set up a little better, maybe have a third panel even, just to give me a little bit more. Bigger panels, bigger motor, bigger batteries, and lighter? That might be, you know, that might work then. I don't know. I'm anxious to go, but I know I can't go very far because the battery is dead. I don't know how many people are watching these videos just for the adventure, and you know, if anybody's even considering, would you do something like this? So maybe let me know in the comments if you're interested in the technical stuff. And I mean, to me, there isn't a lot of people doing this that are actually talking about the technical, and so I'm just kind of curious if anybody's even interested in that, because I could, you know, probably cut a lot of that out if nobody cares. Or if you want more technical, maybe I could, you know, I've done a little bit before, but maybe I could go back and just break it down. What are the pieces I'm using? How do they work together? What would I change on the next version? That kind of thing. So let me know if you're interested. All right, breakfast, coffee, let the sun do its job, and I'm not going to wait for it to fully charge, but it would be nice if it wasn't empty, and then we get going. Also, there's not very much wind today, so I should try to get it good as far as I can. Well, point of diminishing returns. It's about 10:20. I got 39 volts on the battery, and then the clouds are starting to come in. Go from there. We'll just take it in chunks, whatever we can do. I think today, if I can make 30 miles and make the summit at 3,000 feet, that's a good goal. So if I can do 30 miles, I'll take it. The next couple days in San Luis Obispo are cloudy, so I don't know if it's going to be solid clouds. You know, even on a cloudy day, you get a little bit of sun, but not as much as you would hope for. Okay, so we're just leaving Buttonwillow where it accesses I-5 and Highway 58. We're on 58 now. We're getting some clouds coming in. Forecast today is not very much wind. We're going to climb about 3,000 feet in 30 miles. And we don't have a lot of solar to work with. I stayed at the motel until just after 10 o'clock, had the panels folded out, and got it up into 39 volts. That's a lot better than it was last night. I think the plan for today, since I'm going to have limited sun, I don't necessarily
have a specific goal in mind. So we'll just take it a little bit slower today, not use as much solar, do more pedaling, and try to keep some battery for when we actually get to the hill. And so I figured the summit looks like about 3,000 feet in 30 miles. So we'll just plan on getting to the summit, and if we can coast down the other side, great. But not plan on trying to go very fast. Alright, let's go. Okay, this part is good. It looks level, but it's probably a slight downhill. I'm cruising 8 or 9 miles an hour, just pedaling, no electrics. Gotta like that. Sometimes the scope of these things is worth seeing. I don't know, 100 feet across maybe? Could be, right? Yeah, I think at least 100 feet across. I'm not sure how deep it is, but on that side next to the floating balls, there's a ladder so you could crawl out if you got stuck in there. Yeah, don't go in there. But that's huge, right? It's pretty clear, so I can see the concrete on the side. I'm not sure, maybe it's at least 10 feet deep. I can't really tell. Anyway, back yonder is I-5 and Buttonwillow. I stopped in the town of Buttonwillow. It's only about 4 miles from the motel. I realized I'd had an early breakfast, so by the time I hit the road, I was hungry again, so I grabbed some snacks. I figured, well, if I'm close to civilization, buy food. If I'm far away, I've got food packed away somewhere, so yeah, might as well buy when you can. So that was the easy part. Over this way is the not so easy part. Oh, and observe the broken glass. People. Yeah, so yonder hill, we're going to be climbing about 3,000 feet. Oh, I keep getting that wrong on my head. We're going to hit 3,000 feet, but I'm not sure what our elevation is here. But it's still going to be a climb. And the first 10 miles was the easy part. So after that, then we got to go up. So in about 20 miles total, we're going to pick up all of that. And then it's not just downhill, but the nice thing is once we're over the top, we're not coming all the way back down right away. So we'll be kind of staying about, I don't know, halfway, 1,500 feet maybe? Something like that. Anywho, things going well. I managed, I was looking at the sign. I should have parked this sideways at least, but I've got 39 volts now. I had 40 and a half for a while, so I've been using the electrics again. Oh, that's nice. Somebody left a bag to put all your trash in. I guess they didn't get the idea. But yeah, from this way, the way the sun is going, that looks nice. Obviously, we're not supposed to go in there, but it looks nice. Anywho. Alright, forward and onward before we get busted for loitering or something like that. Yeah. Oh, this was funny. I just keep throwing stuff in on top, like you can see the drinks down here, right? So I'm pitching stuff in there because I put the bags towards the front, and then I got kind of a cavity behind it that I can just drop random stuff into. I'm coming out of the motel parking lot. You know, I walked around twice, checked everything, it all looks good. Hit a little bump, one of my water bottles falls out, like at the street. I'm like, I can't even get out of the parking lot without losing stuff here. All right, enough yattering, go. It would be easy to forget that California is doing petroleum. The sign says gas pipeline, And I'm thinking those are oil wells. And there's a bunch of them. Also a few trucks on the road. And I've gone by a whole bunch of these signs. In this case, Chevron. There's a bunch of Chevron that have entrance number 25, 26, 27. And these pipelines are going every which way. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, all over the hill. There's just bip, 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 bip. Those old oil wells, pumps, whatever you call them. Yeah. So much for all your green energy here. That has to be the picture of the trip. Oh, also it's too low. Okay. That one's not moving. The one over there is moving. I didn't have the commitment to make it up the hill to get that one though. Also, if they're mad at me, I hope it's not misdirected. America, y'all, what the hell? Ah, a pair of boots. A couple pair of boots. You know, let's just randomly throw everything out in the middle of here, you know. Oh, and a lizard. I bet he doesn't want to be stuck in there. There you go. Poor guy. Yeah. Seriously. There's this pile here. There's another pile over there. Electric fan, and it looks like a stereo. What is wrong with people? Anyway, I've been looking since I saw these. It's like there's got to be one close to the road. Also, I needed a break halfway up the hill, so that was perfect. But I'm gonna go check out those boots. I'm not sure if that does anything for my image, but they're about my size. These are, I'm not sure if they're official issue, but they got the good new tread style. Well, new in the last 20 years. They're brand new. I don't think these have been worn. The other pair was brand new also. That's just weird. All right. I was thinking when I was first putting this idea together, you've probably seen the little, well, you'll see it at some of the military funerals, a pair of boots, the M16, and a helmet on top, or whatever they call the new rifle now. All right. So I wanted to make a smaller version of that I could just put on the back. Obviously, if I had anything close to a life-size weapon hanging off the back, people would probably get to complaining, so we won't do that. That might go in the next box that I mail home to myself or something. Yeah, brand new pair of boots. Can't pass those up. Anyway, we did what we came to do. We got our shot, so let's get out of here. All right, 2 o'clock, update. We are climbing. Considering how heavy I am, I think things are going pretty well. We're about 1,500 feet. We got to go another 1,500 to get to the top in about the next 10 or 12 miles, I think it is. This is nowhere near as steep as Death Valley, so I'm actually doing okay. In fact, some of the lesser steep stuff, I'm paddling without the electric. Also, shout out to my dad. I just talked to a granite crew on the road. Well, more or less just said hi as I rode by, but that's one of their signs. They're cutting out old culverts, so I go by the truck. It's like dark green, granite. Hey, I know these guys. Well, you know, I know somebody that knows them, or used to know them. Only several states away, so never mind. Used to have a hat. Pretty sure I don't have that one anymore. Yeah, not a whole lot of cover for camping out here, that's for sure. It's completely like devoid. That's just like an almost like alfalfa over there maybe, or something. Pretty barren. Yeah. We're probably only... No, I did 57 miles yesterday, so well, we're still within 100 miles of Lake Isabella, and it's just completely different looking here. Anyway, I just had to stop and get a picture of that sign. It's Reward Road. I don't know what the reward is halfway up the hill, but I guess we can take a break. Oh, this is fun. So where I found the boots, I happened to see this, which is probably part of a shelf or something. That's 2 pieces of really thin rectangular square tubing. Same length. And I'm like, oh man, I think between the PVC pipe and that and some hose clamps, if I leave the front panel where it is, I could use this to splice. It would come out about this far, which is about half of the next solar panel, so I could put the side panel on the back. The only thing I'd really have to change here would be to move my blinking light to the back, and I've got enough wire to do that, so I'll just cut and splice and move it back. Yeah, how cool is that? So I know I can cut the pipe. I've been using my pocket knife. It's got kind of a saw on it. You just go around a couple times and then snap it over a square surface like a parking curb, and it just cuts clean as can be. Kind of like cutting glass. And I've got the drill if I decide to drill any holes, or I can use also my Leatherman tool has a drill, which is a little slower, but then I don't have to mess with my batteries. So I should be able to put this together. So what I'm thinking is if I do sort of like this off of the back, angle it out a little bit, and then it'll be set. So yeah, anyway, let's get going. Oh, now it's windy. It wasn't a minute ago. I think I'm about 6 miles from the top. It's 2:45. I want to get over the top before 4 or 4:30. That'll still give me enough daylight to do some charging. I just had to walk up this section the last half a mile or so. It's really steep here. So stop and catch my breath, let the thing charge. Check out this view, man. All the green area is what's irrigated farmland. I'm not sure if I actually went more than 10 or 15 miles today so far. I'll look in a minute, but we can probably see I-5 from here still. Yeah, it's been a pretty good grind though. It's still not as steep as Death Valley, so in that respect, okay, not too bad. And I think I've only got about 600 feet of elevation to climb. So we should be able to make it before it gets dark, or before the sun gets too low. But every time I see a spot I could pull off, it ends up being somebody's house or something. So, and yeah, there's like no cover here at all. But I might, if it comes to it, I'll just pick a side road and park right in front of the no trespassing sign or something like that. Do what you gotta do, but try to do it politely. Yeah, we only need about 600 or 700 feet of elevation, so we should be able to do it. Getting down to the point that the battery is getting pulled down, so it is what it is. Ain't perfect. But yeah, if I can get that second solar panel up on top where it actually gets some sun in the daylight, in the middle of the day, that's when we need it the most. That would be awesome. Had to stop, one of the boots fell off. Go figure. Little purple flowers are the last mile or two, just both sides of the road. Pretty cool. We're up into some trees now, so I got cover. So if I see a spot to pull off, but I'm almost at the top, I think. So what I'm hoping to do, clear the top, coast down a couple miles so it's not quite so cold, because we're going to be at about 3,000 feet. So I definitely want to get over the top. That way I don't have to think about it tomorrow. So we're getting close. The last mile has been almost level, so I kind of got a chance to catch my breath a little bit. That's always nice. Yeah, okay. I would be really bummed if I go through the trouble to pick up a pair of boots on the side of the road and pull into camp and only have one. And that would suck. That would be about my luck. Okay. 3,140 feet. I was down to 31.5 volts. Normally it's 41, so I pulled it down pretty good. Alright. The sign up ahead says trucks use lower gear next 3 miles, so we made the summit. Whew. I'm so glad I took an extra shower this morning. Alright. Now that I'm at the top, still got some trees. Doesn't really matter if I camp now or coast a couple miles, really, since it is 4 o'clock, 4:20 now. Somebody decorated the tree with a bunch of Christmas tinsel. Nice touch. Yeah, it's all private property up here, so. Oh man, I went by about a mile ago. A couple switchbacks that had a nice clearing back off the road a little bit. I was like, no, I want to get to the top. Would have been a good spot to stop though. I think this bike is on its last legs. The bearing at the bottom bracket that the pedals go on, sounds like it's got a handful of gravel in there. So, it's kind of a point where this bike's got some weird size stuff on it. I could probably get a replacement for it, for that part. Or we start thinking about the next bike, which wouldn't be a terrible idea anyway. Right, here we go. Whee! Yeah, as far as a new bike, or fixing this one, it'll have to come down to if I can find a place that sells electric bike kits and parts. Some of the parts on here I'll move over. Alright, what are we dragging here? Oh, it's on the brake. Okay. Yeah, I gotta be thinking about, does it make sense to fix this very much more, or pull all the parts off of it and move it to a new bike? This wasn't making that noise back in the last Walmart. I'd go get a $200 bike, it would be in good shape. Yeah, alright. Coming down, it's pretty steep. I'm stopping to let the brakes cool down again. My back wheel is already getting hot. This is going to be really windy coming down. Also, we just crossed into San Luis Obispo County, of note. Yeah, anywhere I could find a spot would be good, except right here in the really tight canyon, I won't get sun for very much longer, and it's already almost 4:30, so I'm hoping I break out of this a little bit and then can find a spot to camp and get some charge. Battery is coming up a little bit now just because I'm not using it, so back up to 34 now. But I really want to park, get the angle right, pop up the second panel, get as much as we can. At least we're over the hill, so this is the big hill. From here to San Luis Obispo, it's just going to be a little stuff. So tomorrow shouldn't be too bad, except it's going to be cloudy tomorrow. Yeah, so I'd like to get as much charge as we can. All right, go. Okay, it's 5:15, so we're definitely pushing our limit here. I got one wheel of the trailer up on the berm a little bit to give me a little bit more tilt. We're sitting at about 34 volts now, so we'll see what we get. Not ideal. I should have stopped a couple hours ago, really. But that would have put me back in the hills somewhere. And I really wanted to come down. Okay, so this is kind of a weird one. You see this road on the map, and at first it looked like it didn't go anywhere except for, that's called Soda Lake. So I can't imagine it's good to drink, but anyway. And then as I zoom in on the map, all of a sudden it was like 100 roads. It looked like a complete subdivision. I wonder if it's sort of like where I live. A bunch of people, you buy a parcel, right? So they cut little roads. So there is little sparse, like this one's just got one little building on it. There's a couple motorhomes over there. That one had dogs. They chased me halfway down to here. I'm like, oh great, don't camp too close to the dogs. But this is up on a berm. I don't know if it was naturally occurring or not, but somebody had dug kind of a partial hole here, which is going to give me some shelter from the wind if it starts blowing. It's not blowing right now. I'm like, okay, that also gets me down out of the skyline a little bit. So if I'm sitting on the cot, I won't be visible from the road. And sometimes the best thing is just to not be visible if you can help it. I have had one person drive by already that I was standing up, so I don't know if they saw me or not, but they kept going. Yeah. Anyway, the road goes all the way out to there, and there's just little spurs everywhere. And then there's this little cactus garden here. So it's like, well, do they come out camping once every blue moon or something like that? This is just neat. So somebody loved this place for a little while, but isn't living here yet. We'll be respectful and not trample everything, but it goes all the way down to there. There's a whole line of cactuses that were carefully planted. It's just nice. So, tread softly, leave nothing but tracks, take only pictures. And then here's the other thing. We're going to shoot right into the sun, so this isn't ideal. If I could see the viewfinder even. I'm going to get a shot of this in the morning. From here to there, and then off to the horizon is covered in solar panels. So I don't think that's going to show up very well. We'll get that in the morning. But yeah, it's like they covered this whole valley in solar panels. It's crazy. I mean, that's got to be 60 acres worth of panels, I think. I'm just judging it based on how big my property is. It's like, yeah, there's millions of dollars of solar out there. That's just awesome. Anyway, so yeah, we made it over the top, pulled the batteries right down, and then coming down the other side, when you find you can like coast, then you're like, oh right, I gotta take it easy so I don't go too fast and blow my brakes again. Yeah, first thing I did when I pulled off the road, take off your day glow vest. 2 hours to sunset, and then nobody will know we're here. Anyway, yeah, it's like I got pretty good braking power on the front, but that's the one I welded the bracket on myself. And thinking about it, the last brake that failed, actually I warped that disc rotor, right? So I'm wondering which happened first, because if I had enough heat in it coming down that hill before it broke the bracket, or actually popped the bracket off, I wonder if I warped that rotor and that's what caused it to flip it off, right? So now I'm really careful not to overheat my brakes, because the amount of weight I've got, I mean, I've got probably 1.5 gallons of water and drinks on the trailer, plus on my backpack is another probably nearly 1 gallon, plus all the other tools and gear and everything else. So there's a significant amount of weight in it. I haven't checked miles yet for today. I don't think I went very far, but maybe 20 miles. I guess we'll see. And I left kind of late because I didn't have a good charge this morning when I woke up. So, although by the time I got to the town of Buttonwillow, when I stopped to get a Coke and a couple Snickers bars, I was up into 41 volts. So there was about probably 4 or 5 miles there that I could just pedal without needing the electrics, and that was letting the solar build up. And so I picked up about a volt just that first hour in the morning. I wasn't going very fast, but I was just okay pedaling along. So it was either level or slightly downhill even, and really no wind today at all. Like, I'm getting some breeze now, but not significant like the last few days have been. And at the moment I got like virtually no clouds at all, so I'm hoping that holds. The forecast was for clouds tomorrow. In fact, the next couple of days in this area. The next major waypoint is San Luis Obispo, which I may not actually go into it. I don't have to go. I have been there before. It's kind of a neat little town. Yeah, it's just like, well, okay, check it out kind of thing. But now that I'm having bike issues again, I'll be thinking, well, it's like, one, if I can find a Walmart, I might just go buy another bike and be done, and then move all of my electrics over to it. And if I can find a bike shop that has some of the parts, my pedal assist sensor quit working. And then it's a matter of, well, okay, the easiest thing would be is if I could just order a few things off of eBay. So I got to figure out if I could, one possibility, I think there was some of the people from Suntrip are in the area, so if I could coordinate with them and order the part and have it shipped to them, that would be good, because I don't necessarily need some of this stuff right now. I just would really like it before the race, or the event. It's not technically a race. It's a meet. A meet-up of like-minded peoples off to save the universe. Anyway, yeah. What I like about this spot that I'm in right now, I've got unobstructed view all the way to the horizon going west. So I'll have sun coming in all the way till 7 or whatever sunset is. It's after 7 now. And to the east, I'll have sun pretty early in the morning. So 6:30 or whenever sunrise is, we should get it right away. It's not like, some of the places, like when I was at Lake Isabella or coming through the Current Gorge, the sun was up for 2 hours before it got down to me in the gorge. That's why I didn't stop earlier, because it was going to be like that. I would have stopped and had 2 hours of daylight but no sun, because the sun wouldn't have gotten down to me. So yeah, anyway, if I can keep my head down for another hour, we should be fine. Yay. So I will dig into my stash. Got some more Cliff Bars. Let's see if I got a show. There we go. This is the white chocolate and macadamia nut. I got 18 of these and 18 of the peanut butter ones. Actually, the peanut butter ones I've had for, I think I bought them at Ridgecrest. So that was one of the things I was really looking at coming over the hill here. It's like, oh, I am so overloaded again. I got too much water. I got too much food. I bought Cokes and Gatorades and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, I'm so heavy, So what I got to be able to do is spend a little more time on trip planning and look ahead for maybe 2 or 3 days and see, okay, there's going to be a dollar store or something in every little town. I mean, if you got 500 people, there's probably going to be a dollar store there, except for my little town that has probably 400 people and no dollar store. But it does have a little gas station with pretty good selection of stuff. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, if I can plan my route a little bit careful and give myself, like, well, you still need a gallon of water, so that would be 2 liters in the Camelback plus 2 or 3 bottles would be a gallon and a little bit. So yeah, you can't go much below that, because if you end up I break a random part that I have to walk, then you're walking 20 miles a day, and if you end up pushing the bike, you're not going to make 10 miles a day probably. So, got to have a little bit of contingencies. That's the hard thing, I guess, is do you hope it works or do you plan for it not working? Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and get this video edited, and it looks like I've got signal so I can upload it. Yay! Okay, as always, thank you all for all your support. Welcome to all the new subscribers. I've seen a few people post a lot of comments already, so it's always fun when you get a new person come on board and starts checking out what you're doing. I don't remember the name, but there was a guy that was getting ready to do a bike ride on some of the parts of, I think it was Arizona, where I had just come through, well, a couple weeks ago now, so it's always fun. Yeah. And as always, let's remember why we're doing this. It's not just, about a big bike ride, it's for the veterans, so we're losing too many of them, so if you know any veterans that are out there, maybe check in on them and get a group together, go for a bike ride once in a while. It always feels better after a good ride. Alright, that's it for now. Well, I'm surprised. I did 36 miles today. I thought it was going to be 15 or 20, so that was pretty good effort, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, because I don't think I did, was it 57 yesterday? Yesterday was coming downhill, so that would make sense. So yay, not completely terrible. Alright, that's it.